The Amazing Spider-Man has been portrayed by a few different actors: Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Nicholas Hammond. Now, Nicholas Hammond's version of Spider-Man was the very first live-action version that we've gotten, and this was due to a 1977 TV series that was aired on CBS. I'm not sure how long the show ran or how many episodes that we got from it, but like I said, it was the very first version that we've gotten. And with multiple versions comes the age old question as to who played the role the best. Now, when you're talking about heroes with alter egos, you have to separate the discussion into two parts. In this case, we have the alternate ego of Peter Parker and the hero of Spider Man. So let's start from the beginning. We're going to go back to May 3rd, 2002, where we get introduced to Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi's version of Spider-Man. This was the first time that we've gotten a true version of the wall crawl on the big screen. Toby defined the role over the span of 6 years and 3 films. Now, some films better than others, but nonetheless, this was our first version of a blockbuster live action Spider Man. And he carried all the characteristics that made Peter Parker and Spider Man to be the person that we know and love in the superhero world today. He was endearing, he was apprehensive, he was shy, and he had this nerdly awkward charm about him, as well as this boyish charm and innocence that he had that really embodied who Peter Parker is. And Toby brought a sense of warmth and empathy to the role that I feel like we've yet to see on the screen since then, especially in its multiple recasting of the role. His display of the struggle that Peter faced between being Spider Man and his responsibility as being Peter Parker, and the commitment that he had as a hero, I could generally get behind. And I genuinely don't get attached or invested into characters, but he had me at hello, let's just say the least. Now, some might say one of the problems that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had is the lack of wit that was shown on display within the films. Now, he had wit, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't, subpar. It was just mediocre at best. Now, the argument with that said is being made after the fact that two more versions of we've gotten two more versions of Spider-Man that pretty much learned from the mistakes of others, especially since the comic book craze wasn't as big as it is then as it is today. Now, taking into account, you have to look into Sam Raimi's background, and he's not known for witty comedies and witty characters, with the exception of one. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, Raimi's past movies were more horror focused, which could have been a problem when writing Spider Man. Now, as we talk about witty characters, we do have to acknowledge the fact that Raymond did bring us possibly one of the best characters of the 80s, Ash Williams, and he was portrayed perfectly by Bruce Campbell.
That one. Groovy.
The Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Although these films were cheesy as heck, they were some of the funniest comedy horrors to come out in the 80s and the early 90s. Now, getting back on track, it's safe to say that some of the writing we got in earlier versions of Spider Man was a product of being first for some people. First time actor portraying the role such an iconic role, and a first for the director taking on such an iconic role in a film outside of his wheelhouse. Now, the benefits that the future versions of Spider-Man received because of this also started because the movie industry started taking comic book movies more seriously at this point when you get into the later two versions of Spider-Man. Now, when comparing the three versions, we have to decide who was a better Peter Parker and who was a better Spider-Man. Now, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, in comparison, was much more in line with his comic book counterpart. He was much more mature. He had that awkward charm, and he had that realistic, down to earth energy about him. But the one thing that I didn't care for from the films was that his web shooters were organic.
Go web! Fly! Up, up, and away, web! Shazam! Go! Go! Go, web, go!
In every version of Spider-Man, Peter created his web. This is definitely one of my least favorite aspects of the films. And the struggle that Peter displayed on screen between his responsibility of being Peter Parker and his responsibility of being Spider-Man seemed more grounded in Sam Raimi's versions, more so than we've gotten today, the versions that we've got. Now, as we get into the topic of Spider-Man, each actor had a great performance, but again, some were better than others, and they all had the wit and the charisma to pull it off, but this is it. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, do all that good stuff, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.